On August 13, 1953, the Lao Isara officially changed name to the Pathet Lao, and opened its first Congress in Sam Nua Province, and adopted a 12-point policy such as policy toward equality between various nationalities. The Pathet Lao appointed Prince Suphanuvong as their president, Kason Phombihain as Secretary-General, Nuhak Phumsavan and Phumi Vongvichit as Foreign Minister, Phaidao Lo Blayo representing as Hmong Vice President, Sithon Kamadam representing as Khmu Vice President, and other ethnic group having their own Vice President representing their own people. Other Hmong in the Pathet Lao were now Tu Lo as commander of the Xianquan Military Region, Chong Yiayang President of the Provincial Administrative Committee of Xianquan, Chong Mamua Vice President of the Lao Front for Rebuilding the Country, Yia Lo a member of the Communist Party Committee and the Provincial Administrative Committee, and Sam Che, a Hmong with a Lao name head of the Provincial Police in Xianquan. To this day is still unknown of just how many Hmong in Laos actually fought for the Pathet Lao. On October 1953, French Captain Jean Sassy created the Hmong Maquis Force, and started selecting Hmong from the Laos Territorial Army to join the new Hmong Maquis Force. Vang Pao will also join the Hmong Maquis Force. On March 13, 1954, the major battle at Dien Bien Phu broke out. 200 Hmong troops from the Hmong Maquis Force were sent to support the fight at Dien Bien Phu. Hmong soldiers such as Cheng Leng Yang, Mi Chai Yang, and Tulu Mua were some of the Hmong soldiers deployed at the beginning of the battle at Dien Bien Phu. The 200 Hmong soldiers were split into two teams, a combat team and a scout team. The combat team supported the French to defend the airport at Dien Bien Phu, while a smaller scout team was set up around the mountains position overlooking Dien Bien Phu Airport. Tulu Mua.
As part of the scout team, we monitored the Viet Minh movement every day, and reported the enemy movement around the mountains to the French daily, but it seemed to me that the French did not care about our report about the enemy movement.
Meanwhile, Phaidao Lo Blayo and his Hmong troops supported and aided the Viet Minh at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. Just another story of Hmong people killing Hmong, fighting on both sides of the war and can't come to a common ground. During World War II, some Hmong supported the French under Tu Bi Li Fong, while some Hmong supported the Japanese under Phaidao Lo Blayo. During the First Indochina War, some Hmong supported the French under Tu Bi Li Fong, while some Hmong supported the Viet Minh under Phaidao Lo Blayo. During the Secret War, some Hmong supported the Royal Lao under Vang Pao, while some Hmong supported the Pathet Lao under Phaidao Lo Blayo. Today, Hmong leaders and Hmong historians from the United States have tried to delete these facts from history, and kept these facts out of books and documentary of events and battles that saw Hmong killing Hmong in mass number. These tragic events need to be told and need to be remembered so that those that comes after us will know not to make the same tragic mistake. Throughout the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, the French constantly sent reinforcement along with local troops such as the Hmong troops from the Hmong Maquis Force to join the fight. Hmong soldiers, that were trained for parachute, were selected from the Hmong Maquis Force to join the French paratrooper and airdrop into the battle at Dien Bien Phu. Hmong soldiers such as Vang Pao uncle, Chong Vang, was deployed with the French paratrooper to Dien Bien Phu. Tulu Mua.
As part of the scout team, I was lucky, and I watched the battle from my position from the mountain. I saw the French and Hmong paratrooper jump from the transport aircraft, and saw them land on punji stick booby traps. I saw some paratrooper being shot by Viet Minh before their feet could touch the ground, and I saw those transport aircraft being hit by Viet Minh air anti-gun.
Toward the end of the battle at Dien Bien Phu, the French in desperation ordered more Hmong troops from the Hmong Maquis Force to conduct Operation D. Operation D was to have the Hmong troops with French commando join the fight at Dien Bien Phu, and attack the Viet Minh from the rear to break the Viet Minh encirclement. Vang Pao was also sent with the reinforcement to Dien Bien Phu to conduct Operation D. Vang Pao and the Hmong soldiers were only days away from reaching the battle when news was received that the French at Dien Bien Phu had been defeated and had surrendered to the Viet Minh. French Captain Jean Sassy.
It was early in the morning when our radio man started shouting at us, pointing at the radio, and ran over to us with the radio and shouted listen, and held the radio close to me and Vang Pao, and over the radio we can hear shouting.
Dang bin phu yes titum! Dang bin phu yes titum! Dang bin phu yes titum! Tum tum tum!
I remember everyone went silent after hearing the radio message, and I turned to Vang Pao and he was dead silent, and I can see from the look from his face he was really worried. I radio in asking for instructions on what to do next, and the radio message came back saying,
Return to the plain of jars! I repeat, return to the plain of jars!
In total 11,721 French were captured at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, and of whom 4,436 will ever make it home. Majority of the Hmong Maquis soldiers that escape at Dien Bien Phu were from the scout team operating around the mountains. Chong Tua Moa.
From our position in the mountains, we saw the base being overrun by the Viet Minh, and once our French commando was notified of the situation down below at the airport, he gave us orders to start packing up, telling us the fight was over.
Ching Lung Yang.
I was scared. I was really scared that I was going to die. The Viet Minh were forcing everyone out of their foxhole, and the situation was just a total chaos, and I remember the Viet Minh were arguing among themselves and pointing guns and shooting, and we can see the situation from our position about 120 yards out east of their position. Me and some of the Hmong soldiers decided that we were going to make a run for it before the Viet Minh made it to our foxhole. With us we also had other soldiers from other backgrounds such as Thai, Lao, Phuan, Yao, Minh and Vietnamese soldiers that have been fighting alongside us Hmong soldiers. We ran towards the southern mountain and keep running until we made it to the third mountains, and was sure that we would be safe. Then from there we had a compass that we used to head west, and we kept moving west to safety.
Over 2,000 Hmong troops from the Hmong Maquis force were captured at Dien Bien Phu, and most will die in prison camps. Mi Chai Yang was a Hmong soldier that was captured at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, and he was held in prison until 1979. Mi Chai Yang, after being released from prison in 1979, he returned back to Laos to find that his village was completely destroyed and abandoned. He was locked up for so long that he missed the entire secret war events. He eventually tracked down his family in a Thailand refugee camp, and many of his remaining family couldn't believe that he was still alive. The last time they saw him he was still a young man heading off to the battle at Dien Bien Phu and was never seen since. If the battle at Dien Bien Phu would have raged on for a few more days, Vang Pao and the Hmong foot soldiers would have had made it to Dien Bien Phu and participated in the battle, and Vang Pao would have had died at Dien Bien Phu. At this point Vang Pao was a ranking lieutenant. Vang Pao and the Hmong troops were now put on a new mission, and that was to go rescue French soldiers hiding and lost in the forest of Laos. Vang Pao during the rescue mission was mostly hoping to find his uncle Chong Vang, that was airdropped at the battle at Dien Bien Phu with the French paratrooper. His uncle, Chong Vang, was never seen again along with his entire team. Chia Zhang Mua and his team of Hmong soldiers rescue 19 French soldiers from Sam Nua province, and then later discover 6 French soldiers that had made their way on foot to Nong Het. They will also go on to rescue French Captain Debin. Over 200 French soldiers were rescued by the Hmong soldiers. Tulu Moa.
It took us 3 months to make it to Chien Quan by foot. We were ambushed one time during the retreat from Dien Bien Phu, and over 100 French soldiers that were with us were killed during the ambush. We also lost 7 of our Hmong soldiers during the ambush by the Viet Minh. Some of the French fell behind because they couldn't keep up, and their shoes were no longer usable, and their feet were bleeding, but we were not going to wait for them, because we knew the Viet Minh were close behind. We eat leaves, bamboo, and bananas, but the French wasn't used to our food and some died of hunger and sickness. When we made it to Chien Quan only 30 French soldiers made it with us.